In this section, we're going to look at how best to conduct a Sports Series test drive to a potential customer. We'll be referring to the test drive document, which you can download from the right-hand side of your screen. It's a well-proven fact that the test drive is the most important element of the sale, particularly for a vehicle like this. Demonstrating McLaren products in an appropriate and professional way will help you to achieve more sales. We're not going to show you a full test drive demonstration. Instead, we want to focus on how and when to demonstrate the key dynamic selling points of Sports Series, with the help of our guest presenter, Chris Goodwin. Chris is an accomplished race car driver, but also chief test driver for the dynamic development of McLaren road cars. So, if you haven't already done so, please download the Sports Series test drive document now using the orange button on the right-hand side of your screen and have a look through it. You can simply pause this video and come back to it when you're ready.
To differentiate Sports Series from Super Series, we've changed a number of things. The Sports Series has narrower wheels and tyres, so less tyre grip available. We have less torque and power, and we also have less downforce. Those are the three key performance areas that we've reduced to separate those two cars. Within that, though, we've put extra effort into tuning the balance, tuning the delivery of that torque that we do have in the Sports Series, tuning the balance of the car that we have with that lower level of grip to give more engagement. So creating more out of less, actually, more fun out of less performance. And that really is one of the things that will make the Sports Series such an engaging road car to drive out on any road. Once you're inside the 570S, demonstrating to a customer starts in the conventional fashion with the start button. Relocated slightly, the car wakes up in the conventional normal handling and normal powertrain modes. There's a creep function, so as you pull away, you just release your foot from the brake. Rather than having to go to the accelerator, the car will just gently creep forward. Handy for stop-start traffic. And in this normal mode, we've got a nice compliant ride, soft damping, nice early gear shifting in auto. The revs are low, fuel consumption is great, the cabin noise very quiet. A big effort has been put into the interior quality, the materials, but also the sound deadening and NVH material to keep the ride nice and quiet when you want it to be. Steering, very light at low speed and parking weights, but as you build up speed, the steering weights up to give you the feel and weight in your hands that you would expect from a sports car, to give you the feedback that you're looking for. And also the brake feel, the brake pedal is geared up so that not excessive pedal weight is needed to stop the car, but also a good degree of modulation is possible. So really helps in smooth driving in traffic, but it's exactly what you want for a racetrack as well, just to really trail the brake into the corners and have maximum feel. Also in normal mode, the Eco Stop Start feature will stop the engine as you stop at traffic lights or in traffic, and as you release the brake again, the engine will fire up and you can creep, then pull away in the traffic. You can switch off that feature just by pressing this button here, just located underneath the powertrain mode switch, and that will keep the engine running at all times. Visibility is a key feature in the Sports Series. The engaging drive is no use to you if you can't see where the corners are coming up at you, and so the driver's location in the cabin has been key. The seat position, the position of the steering, but visibility, sight lines. Forward visibility very low, A-pillar position so you can really pick out the apex of the corner, and just being able to pick out the eyebrow of the bodywork above the front wheel there allows you really to turn into a corner and place the car where you want to on the road very, very accurately. Once you've experienced the Sports Series in normal mode, you can press the active button on the ADP. And in the conventional fashion that you're used to in a McLaren, you can change the handling mode from normal to sport and the powertrain mode from normal to sport. Handling mode change slightly stiffens the ride quality, but we're still benchmark in terms of ride comfort. Even on the bumpiest roads, we're a mile more comfortable than our competitors. But the handling tightens up with that mode change. Using the adaptive damping, the Sport Series retains an anti-roll bar system, conventional anti-roll bars front and rear in the suspension, but we do use our adaptive damping system, a hugely powerful tool, really controls the body and also the balance of the car in cornering. So from normal to sport, we have a much tighter body control. The car starts to feel like a sports car, and you have a more direct turn in and a more agile balance. In sport mode, the ESC control changes slightly. We have a slightly more open traction control and ESC control. You can press the ESC off button once, and that will put the car into ESC dynamic mode, which is a freer mode still. So each of normal and sport, each has a dynamic mode, which just allows a little bit more freedom from traction control and a little bit more yaw. Not something you really want to demonstrate or experience on a road test drive. The gear shifts. Well, in normal mode, you have a nice smooth gear shift, keeping the car quiet and smooth. Once you've moved to sport mode and you press the manual button on the inside there of the powertrain mode, the gear shift becomes sharper, faster. In auto, it's higher revving. And in manual, each of those upshifts has a much more physical cut feel and an audible cut. So it's a much more engaging gear shift. Feels faster, you hear it, it's more fun. The downshifts are great, and it starts to become a car that you just want to change gear all the time because it sounds and feels really sporty. When in manual shift, you're using the paddles on the steering to shift gear, pulling the right paddle for an upshift and pulling the left-hand paddle for a downshift. McLaren have a tradition to use the rocker system, so the paddles are operating on a pivot in the centre, and so you can actually use the right-hand paddle for an upshift, but also push it away from you for a downshift as well. Just adds to the versatility of the car. We also have track mode. So once you're finished in sport, you can go to track handling, track powertrain. With track handling, the dampers stiffen up and again tighten up the ride and body control, but also convert the balance of the car to a more aggressive turn in and a flatter, sharper handling response. The ESC system opens up, so you have even less control than in sport. Still control there unless you switch from the normal ESC level to dynamic or totally off. Powertrain, the gear shifts change again. The engine note changes, but the gear shift quality changes, and you have an inertia push gear shift that is the fastest gear shift available on a racetrack, surging the car forward with each upshift. In all modes, the Sport Series is developed to engage the driver. The Sport Series, the name gives it away, it really does feel like a sports car. Its handling is very direct, very agile and nimble. The car feels half the weight it really is. The steering, the brakes have been designed to really engage you, give you feedback, maximum drivability, again, whether you're driving slowly on the road or fast on a racetrack. You already know that the car has been geared up as a sports car to give you maximum fun. When you press the start button, you hear the engine. A lot of development time and effort has gone into the sound of this car. It feels louder, sportier, more aggressive, and that changes also as you go up the modes from normal to sport to track. That just increases. The gear shifts crack, the downshifts really bring the car alive. But when you're going on the gas, we've developed the powertrain, the engine in this car to again really accentuate that feel of a sports car, so that as you start to accelerate, we have a rising rate, a building torque curve on this engine that just gives you a relentless acceleration rather than a flat delivery of power. So all in all, whatever speed you're driving, whatever your driving style, this really feels like a true sports car.
Remember that one of the key abilities of any outstanding sales consultant is being able to conduct an effective and compelling test drive. Test driving any McLaren is likely to be a special experience for most customers, and most test drives have a very high influence on the sale. So it's really important, especially with Sports Series, to encourage as many customers as possible to take a test drive. Ryan Champion, one of our training specialists from the McLaren Academy, is going to take us through some information which we hope you'll find useful when planning your Sports Series demonstration drives.
So the test drive is your chance to prove how professional you are as a McLaren sales consultant. As we've already said, it's about bringing this car to life and really letting the customer experience some of the fantastic features. During that test drive, it's important to be professional. McLaren is all about attention to detail. Before you do a test drive, please make sure you prepare not only the car but also yourself. We need a carefully planned test drive route that really shows this car off to its best degree. And that even could mean different test drive routes depending on your customer type. But the key thing is, have that test drive route in mind. We also want the car to be perfectly prepared. So it must be clean. It must have fuel. Ideally, it should also be up to working temperature, the engine up to temperature, and the cabin area either cooled or warmed, depending on your climate. And again, all about being professional. As a sales consultant, drive the car first. Your prospect is probably really keen to drive this car, but our retailers are busy environments. There's lots of cars moving around. We often have confined spaces. It's quite an intimidating environment to drive a supercar for the first time. So drive the car smoothly off the site and onto the highway. And then you can start to talk about some of the great features we have with Sports Series. The Active Dynamics panel is one of the key features of this car. It gives us 3-in-1. But start in the normal mode. We're normally in traffic, moving away from the retailer, and you can talk about how easy this car is to live with, how easy it is to drive in normal daily traffic. We want to explain the dynamics of this car and really put across the fact that we, as professional McLaren sales consultants, understand these cars to a great degree. So as you're driving through the town, explain how smooth the engine is, how there's no turbo lag, how the car responds very nicely to the throttle, the effortless gear change of our double clutch gearbox, and how smoothly the car rides through an urban environment, which sometimes is a real advantage for us over our key competitors that don't offer the Active Dynamics panel and the different modes that we have with this car. So really show your knowledge of the car as you're driving it. When you want to let your prospect have the fantastic opportunity to drive the car, find somewhere safe to change over. Obviously, you should already know where this is on your pre-planned route. Turn the car off and slowly change positions. Let's not forget, they may not have driven a car like this before, but of course, from the questions you've already asked your customer, you will know what car they drive. So that's a good chance for you to start talking about their car and start talking about some comparisons. Let your customer have some time to get comfortable in the car. Give them time to adjust the seat, adjust the steering wheel, because we want them to feel at one with the car. And when they're comfortable, invite them to move off. Give them a little time to get familiar. Maybe don't ask too many questions of them initially until they're really comfortable with the car. And again, you can revisit their existing car at this point. Ask them how it compares with their car. Where it's safe to do so, we really want our prospective customers to gain an understanding of this car. So give them the opportunity to drive the car in the different modes on the Active Dynamics panel. If the customer wants to try the nose lift feature, they live in a housing estate with speed ramps, let them experience that. And you can also talk about the display inside the car so they know what's happening at that point. If they want to try the reversing camera, again, let them do that. This, as we said, is a car that can be used every day, and the key aspect of the car to many of our customers will be its ease of driving. But with the Active Dynamics panel, we know that ultimate performance is there. As we're coming back towards the dealership, offer to drive the car back in to the showroom on behalf of the customer, because as we said, the retailer environment is often very busy. So drive the car back in if your customer maybe feels a little bit nervous about doing that. Offer them the chance to swap again. Before you get out of the car, ask, can your prospect see themselves driving and owning this car? You're in a one-on-one situation, that's the great chance to get direct feedback from that customer. How do they feel about it? What's their emotions? And maybe, do they have any slight objections? Because objection handling, as we know, is an important part of the sales process. Whilst you're one-on-one with the customer in the car, it's maybe a good chance to handle any of those objections before you move on to discussing a sale. As we said, the test drive is the customer's chance to engage with the car dynamically. Do it in a professional manner and help the car to really make a compelling sale for yourselves. Do a professional job, and the test drive will really help you sell the Sports Series.
In this section, we've looked at how best to demonstrate Sports Series to a potential customer. It's important to remember to personalise your test drives by fully understanding the customer's specific interests, their current car, and how they use it. You should aim to deliver a great experience by demonstrating passion, energy, and enthusiasm. So remember, the test drive is one of the most critical parts of the sales process. Sales consultants should have a very good working knowledge of the dynamics of the Sports Series. The main aim should be to get the customer to feel emotionally and physically engaged with the car. Stick to a solid process and always drive first. McLaren is about attention to detail and preparation. The more preparation, the better the result. Use a well-planned and proven route which is designed to highlight Sports Series' dynamic features.